And now, moving outside Nigeria, Spain mourns Barcelona terror attack victims. Many thanks for joining us. I am Rita Omodia. On our first story, the Yoruba Congress has urged the National Assembly to begin moves for devolution of powers as a way to solve the nation's challenges. The Secretary of the Congress, Dr. Kunle Olajide, observed that Nigeria is passing through a rough sketch and urged patriots in the country to rise up together and find a lasting solution to the problems confronting the country. He also lamented that successive politicians in the country have failed to correct the loop-sided structure of the country, which favored the government at the center.
It is on record that Chief Obafemi Awolowo was emphatic that in a multi-ethnic, multicultural country like Nigeria, it is only a truly federal constitution that can work. Contemporary events have proved him right. The federating regions at the inception were bigger than many prosperous nations in existence across the globe. Each had the resources to run its bureaucracies and pay taxes to the federal government to run the armed forces, external affairs, currency, etc. On the contrary, we now have states owing salaries and running to Abuja every month cap in hand to collect allocations, while many resources are lying idle and untapped right under their noses.
He said the struggle of the Southwest began with the invasion of the military to the nation's leadership. He further stated that Nigeria is currently practicing an over-centralized system which continues to forestall the development of basic sectors.
The Yoruba as a nation is now united. We prefer to exist within a Nigeria where we are guaranteed safety and progress. We believe it is the interest of all for this country to be reorganized in such a way that power is devolved to the federating units. The Yorubas will not be intimidated to accepting to be a junior partner in this Nigerian project. We have made enormous sacrifices in human and material resources to build this country.
On our next story, the Deputy Senate leader, Senator Bala Ibn Nahala, has faltered the ongoing clamor for restructuring of the country, describing it as unpatriotic. Nahala, who describes state's correspondent in Abuja, stated that the concept of restructuring does not exist in the dictionary of the framers of Nigerian constitution. He maintained that the architects of the demands for restructuring and fiscal federalism probably did not understand the context from which the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was fashioned.
And in a country where we deliberately have decided to jettison the idea of rule of law, where anybody can do whatever he likes and get away with it, then we will begin to have this kind of situation. Let me tell you, even those who claim to be responsible and representing some sections of this country who were busy promoting and creating things that do not exist, either under our constitution or our law, or what the country as a whole has not agreed onto, are still doing so.
Reacting to calls for the scrapping of the Senate, Senator Bala said those calling for the scrapping of the Senate were doing so out of ignorance. The Deputy Senate leader noted that the creation of the Senate is to ensure that there is no disparity in representation that will exist in a unicameral House of Representatives.
Lawyers advocating, including Professor Itesege, that Nigeria should advocate for the dissolution of the Senate because Nigeria should be bicameral. This is one of the most unreasonable exposition of ignorance.
According to Naala, over 50% of the members of the House of Representatives are from the North, and as such could influence any bill in their favor against the South. And now, moving on, a consortium of civil society organizations has formed a coalition with a clear mandate to develop and execute strategies geared towards the eradication of all forms of corrupt practices in both public and private sectors of the country. The chairman of the Movement Against Corruption, Dr. Joe K. Odukami, said the group is determined to sensitize Nigerians on the need to possess ownership of the war against corruption in the country. Here is the report.
The movement against corruption is birthed in response to the imperative for civil society groups and the Nigerian people to have a formidable platform to confront the cancer of corruption which has bedeviled Nigeria for decades. The chairman of the group, Dr. Joe K. Odumaki, said MAC will stir up Nigerians towards an efficient anti-corruption campaign through rallies, protests and all forms of civic and democratic engagement.
We have resolved to reject any form of policy or legislation from any tier or arm of government. We are also determined to mobilize Nigerians to demand judicial accountability by campaigning against the increasingly slow pace of action of the judiciary in the prosecution of corruption-related cases across various courts in Nigeria.
Speaker after speaker, leaders of the different anti-corruption bodies underscored the need to fight corruption and defeat it as a united people. They stressed the importance of giving corruption red card and resist the temptation to remain silent while the scourge erodes our basic values.
Corruption is killing us. The time to confront the monstrosity of corruption is now, be it in the National Assembly, in the presidency, or in the judiciary, at the federal, state, and local government.
That has galvanized different organizations and groups to launch massive attack on corruption in Nigeria before corruption kills Nigeria.
And until we can end corruption, Nigeria will continue to be at the mercy of heartless rulers. We will not have good leaders. So we have to fight this corruption. It's the next frontier of struggle.
I therefore encourage Nigeria to join in this crusade because no amount of effort by anti-corruption agency can be enough without full backing.
Nigerians have suffered immeasurably from corruption, and the time to give corruption a red card is now.
The group is, however, prepared to stage a march against corruption with the team Red Card Against Corruption in Lagos and Abuja.
To corruption! Red card to corruption! Red card to corruption!
And away from that, not less than 50 houses in Ajegunle Araromi community along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway have been demolished. Residents of the community who claim that the purported exercise must have been carried out by one of the Ogun State government agencies are crying out for justice from a higher authority. Correspondent John Felix reports.
Residents of the Ajegunle Araromi betrayed emotions as they count their losses.
Daddy, no, stop.
A section of the community came under tractor, and this is what is left. I was guided through this part to assess the level of damage. The people lost everything to the exercise. They managed to salvage just a few items.
This is the place that they employ my papa and my grandpapa. So where I can go now? I have children like 10. Where can my children go?
What bothers most is that there was no notice whatsoever, and people are just now. People could not even allow people to move their luggage.
There were insinuations not favorable to the public interest. The people claimed that the 70 meters setback required by the law was strictly observed. Yet, despite the court order urging both parties to maintain status quo, pending the determination of the court case, they alleged that the state government has defied the orders.
It is very, very bad for our democracy. Very, very bad. I don't know where we are going from this area. If at this end, a government that is in power can go ahead and destroy property, there's a particular court case on it, then the laws of Nigeria needs to be changed.
What we discovered is that government is trying to sell this land to a particular company, but we don't know the name of the company anyway. We don't know the name of the company. That's what we discovered. Government is trying to sell the land.
As the people seek justice, Ogun State Bureau of Lands, suspected to have carried out the exercise, denied having any involvement. However, another government agency reacted this way.
I'm not aware of any exercise like that. The last one we did was along the Shagamu toll gate, and that was about 2 weeks ago. So this one you are talking about wasn't carried out by the Ministry of Urban and Physical Planning. I was in the office throughout yesterday, and the commissioner was here too. So all the relevant people were in the office, so I'm not aware of any demolition along that axis.
Well, human beings, they don't have anywhere to go. And the community is not only committed along the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. If you start from the boundary of between Lagos and Ogun State, you start from Arepo, Wariwa, Wawa, Magboro, Ibafo, Mowe, Orimerum. They are along the express. So why this community? Why this community?
While the people continue to count their losses and government agencies refusing to take responsibility, the question that urgently requires an answer is who did the injustice? John Felix, Galaxy News, Ajigunle Araromi, Ogun State.
Lagos State residents asked to keep clean environment. This and many more stories when Galaxy News returns. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Galaxy TV News. For more updates and latest news, log on to our website www.galaxytvonline.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. You can also follow or interact with us via our Facebook page www.facebook.com/GalaxyTV or tweet at GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at official Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. Still on the news, the executive chairman of Muson Okunla Local Council Development Area in Lagos State, Adebisi Adebaju, has urged Lagosians to ensure the sustenance of a clean environment, even as she reiterated the administration's focus in ensuring the attainment of this goal. Adebaju said this while inaugurating a task force committee on a clean environment in Lagos State. According to her, the Millennium Development Goal number 7 is targeted at ensuring environmental sustainability, hence the need to evolve new ways of doing old things.
There is need for us to keep our environment clean and to make sure our environment is very healthy.
She said the benefits of living in a healthy environment could not be overemphasized, adding that it would ensure that the people breathe fresh air. And now moving on to Rivers State, the Rivers State Police Command has disclosed the arrest of the suspect, Ifeanyi Chukwu Maxwell, DK, 23 years, of Messiah Street, Iliozu, Port Harcourt, who abducted Chikamzo Victory, 80 years, of the same address. The little girl was allegedly abducted, defiled and killed, while her body parts were said to be removed and put in a polythene bag. It was disclosed to Galaxy News that the suspect was going to dispose the body when he was arrested by the local vigilante that suspected his movement in the area.
Our efforts now on the Commission of order for immediate investigation into the matter to unravel the circumstances and also to break the cartel, the syndicate that has been responding for this ritual killing, because in recent times we have had a case of people being killed and beheaded. So we will get to the bottom of the matter.
I actually at first wanted to make sure that she felt no pain. Why I did, I collect the things I was asked to get. So unfortunately, she.
Let's hear what you're saying.
Unfortunately, it was overdose, so she died of the.
Oh, you gave her drugs. You
Yes.
gave her drugs.
What
Yes,
drug
sir.
did they give? He drug with the vigilante, even he bite the vigilante or the labs. They have a big battle. When the man happened to call, they reinforced. Then they caught him.
The police public relations officer Nnamdi Omoni urged all community members to always report any act of criminality and cult-related activities to the police in order to reduce the rate of crime in the area. And moving away from that, the chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP Southwest, Olorogun Edi Olafese, has called on the All Progressives Congress to stop blaming PDP for its inadequacy at effecting good governance in the country. Though he agreed that the party did some bad things while in office, he stated that the PDP rule in the country brought about numerous achievements that has helped the nation. He said it is high time for the APC-led government to face the reality of governance and stop blame game.
In the rumor mills, the truth remains that we made a lot of mistakes while in office, and those mistakes, are those that we're trying to correct. And the Nigerian people punished us for it by voting us out in 2015. And believe me, the desire of the party is to be able to do far better than they did in those days they were in office.
Still on politics, the publicity secretary of the All Progressives Congress in Ondo State, Omoba Bayomi Adesonya, has said the return of President Muhammadu Buhari will affect the nation's economy for good this time around. Speaking with Galaxy News correspondent Lebi Joseph in Akure on the recent return of the president, Adesonya said it is all important for the president to get well to continue the ongoing revival of the socio-economic state of the nation. While commending the prayers and good intention of some Nigerians, Omoba Adesonya condemned the call for the president's resignation while on medical vacation, saying it is a gross display of unpatriotism.
Has the power over his head, so anybody can fall ill at any point in time. But we should be patriotic. That is the best way, rather than for somebody or some group of people protesting against the president's health vacation. They were there when people were looting the country's treasury. They never protested. They were there throughout. Nobody talked.
Away from that, the Minister of State for Agriculture, Mr. Eneke Lokobiri, has said that the All Progressives Congress, APC, is a party guided by the rule of law. He made the remark during a meeting with party faithful in Yenagoa, the state capital, on the internal crisis rocking the party, which led to the killing of a party member. The minister said the party followed due process in the selection of the state chairman of the party.
Party is a party of rule of law. All that the National Executive Committee or the National Working Committee of the APC did was following the APC Constitution.
Police Commissioner Amba Asukwo wants troublemakers to stay clear of the state, as anyone caught disturbing the peace in the state will be prosecuted.
Anybody, whether hoodlums, whether member of the party or anybody that causes the breach of the peace, we are bound to arrest him.
Recall that a party member was killed during the party congress in Yenagoa on Friday, while some suspects were said to have been arrested by the police. Meanwhile, the chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Bayelsa State, Mr. Moses Cleopas, has said that the party will resist any form of illegality. He made the disclosure at the party secretariat in Yenagoa, the state capital, while briefing newsmen on the party position regarding the coming elections.
As legitimately elected and ratified ESCO, we sit down here and we will resist any form of illegality. This party is desirous of having as many people as possible. And since they have seen that the other side cannot be compared to this side, they are desirous of coming back.
On the recent crisis in the APC, the PDP chairman blamed the alleged imposition of candidates by the APC as the cause.
Their thinking is to see how perhaps they can have party structure in their pocket so that they can voice candidates of their choice in the forthcoming elections from next year. Both House of Assembly, House of Reps, Senate, and even gubernatorial candidates. That is their very slim reasoning. Forgetting that PDP is a very liberal party, the era of impunity where one man sits down to pick candidates for election is over.
Attendance at the meeting were party leaders from the 8 local government areas of the state, as well as newly elected executives. And now the news will continue after this break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching Galaxy TV News. We do apologize for the break in transmission. Still on the news, the former Minister of Aviation and Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Osita Chidoka, has emerged the flag-bearing candidate of the United Progressive Party, UPP, for the Anambra State governorship election scheduled to hold on November 18 this year. Chidoka emerged as sole aspirant of the UPP after the second contender, Chudi Ofodili, was alleged to have withdrawn from the race before the commencement of the party's primary election held in Oka, the state capital. The former aviation minister was declared winner of the primary election by the Congress Committee Chairman, Ejike Uche, having polled 1,222 votes out of 1,473 accredited candidates.
We are not here to fight injustice, we are here to arrest injustice in Nigeria. And we are not here to talk about equity and to clamor for equity. We are here to control equity in the course of running this state.
Chidoka thanked the people for the trust bestowed on him, promising to make the party and indeed Anambra State proud on the zoning formula that Anambra North be allowed to finish their tenure. UPP faithful says such cannot play out in the coming election.
For instance, in UPP, you have Chudi Ofodile from the central. You have Osita Chidoka from central. So are you not telling UPP to manufacture a candidate from the north and the south to vie for the election? Is that what you're telling me?
With Chidoka as its candidate, the UPP leaders are optimistic that the party will take over the seat of power in Anambra State come November 18 this year. Moving on, the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, has condemned the call by commercial sex workers to be unionized in the country. The Rivers State Chairman of NLC, Comrade Beatrice Utubo, condemned this in an interview with our correspondent in Port Harcourt, the state capital. She said Labour will not support the move because it does not conform to the principles and ethics of the Labour movement. She further called on the National Assembly not to assent to the bill, which is now before the Assembly. On his part, a human rights advocate, Barrister Haya King, disclosed that the Constitution allowed them to come together to flag off publicly.
They will not affiliate to my own labor center. They can affiliate with any other one. They can even form their own labor center. So I don't see that was how they were going about lesbianism and same-sex marriage and all that. Every day people come out with strange ideas. But it's really unfortunate that at this 21st century, people are still talking about organizing themselves as prostitutes instead of thinking of better things that they will do with their lives. When they are talking of a lot of ill health here and there.
No, but I don't think they need a lot to unionize. But again, can you just say prostitutes union, prostitutes association of Nigeria? Again, it's derogatory. It's derogatory. It's sex workers union. Whenever you hear it, you are like, what is this? It's derogatory. It's absurd. But there is no law that stops them from doing that.
Meanwhile, on the contributory pension scheme, Comrade Beatrice Utubo described the scheme as a failed project and urged the state government to discontinue the scheme.
The inception of that program, the contributory pension scheme, workers have been paying their own part of the contribution, but government has not paid his. And then at the end of the day, there is an amount that we are supposed to even pay at the first instance, because those years that we are under the defined benefit scheme, they're supposed to contribute both your own and their own in those years and pay into that same fund.
She appealed to President Buhari to look into it at this time he's back in the country and use this minimum to compensate millions of Nigerians who prayed for him while he was on his sick bed. And away from that, authorities of the United Nations Development Program has resolved to support Nigerian government in the provision of affordable and accessible housing for civil servants and other citizens. The gesture, according to UN officials, is in line with the government Federal Integrated Staff Housing Program. Addressing journalists at Foundation Laying ceremony, Chairperson of the Federation of the United Nations Staff Association Building Committee, Osibo Oladipo, said the 782 housing units being constructed in the Federal Capital Territory would be accessible to all Nigerians.
For the government, not government, I think it's high time we actually concentrate on investing housing for people.
Contractors of the project also promised to provide bridging loan for those who cannot afford the initial 30% down payment.
Okay, one of it, like I said, normally most of the estates you find around will tell you that you're supposed to pay 30% down payment. You understand me? And equally, we are giving a bridging loan for people that cannot afford to pay the difference. For people, yes, a bridging loan for people that are taking houses, because the NHF scheme, in the NHF scheme, the maximum amount you can take is 15 million.
We have we have completed the most difficult part of the job. That's the road. In most estates in Abuja, you see they have problems of roads.
The houses, which will be ready by next year, will be given out in full terms of mortgage. And now let's take a look at stories that made our headlines during the week.
On Monday, the Academic Staff Union of Universities commenced an indefinite strike to press home some of its demands from the federal government. President of the union, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, made the confirmation while briefing journalists in Abuja. Professor Ogunyemi averred that industrial action will continue until government fulfill its agreement with the union. He maintained that the failure of series of consultations, dialogues and interventions by well-meaning Nigerians to get government to heed to their demands compelled the union to embark on the strike.
An emergency meeting of the National Executive Council of ASU rose on Saturday, 12th August 2017, with a resolution to embark on an indefinite strike action starting from Sunday, 13th August 2017.
The ASU president, however, maintained that the strike will be total and comprehensive, adding that there will be no teaching, examinations and attendance of meetings in any of its branches while the strike lasted. He accused government of being insensitive to the implementation of the 2009 agreement as well as the 2013 Memorandum of Understanding signed between government and the union. On Tuesday, the Resume or Resign protest spearheaded by Charles Oputa, also known as Charlie Boy, turned violent after a group of counter-protesters attacked the Our Mumu Don't Do movement. The movement had converged at the Unity Fountain Park as they have done in the past 9 days since the Resume or Resign protest had been on, as the group intensified calls for Nigeria's ailing president Muhammadu Buhari to leave office. The Charles Oputa-led group is marking the 99th day since the president left the country on medical leave to London. And the convener of the movement, Deji Adeyanju, while addressing journalists, says their movement maintained a hard stance, insisting the president's action was unconstitutional and as such unacceptable.
It's a serious embarrassment on our country. There's nowhere in the world where this happens, except if not in Nigeria. You know, and look at what BBC is doing. They are mocking us. The world is watching. The world is looking at the Nigerian media. Why is the Nigerian media not in front of Abuja House in London?
The Our Mumu Don't Do movement shortly afterwards headed to the Wuse market for the next leg of its protest. Gaining access to the market was difficult at first until a group of Charlie Boy supporters prevailed on those at the gate to allow them entry. The protest, however, took a different turn as a group of seeming pro-Buhari supporters invaded the scene of the rally.
What are we demanding? Resume or resign. What are we demanding? Resume or resign.
On Wednesday, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo assigned portfolios to the 2 newly sworn-in ministers and sworn-in 16 new permanent secretaries. Before commencement of Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting, the acting president announced Professor Stephen Ocheni as Minister of State for Labor and Employment and assigned Suleiman Hassan to the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing as Minister of State. The acting president also swore in 15 senior civil servants recently promoted to the permanent secretary cadre in the Federal Civil Service. The acting president later administered oaths of office and assigned portfolios to the 15 new permanent secretaries. On Thursday, the federal government vowed to treat anybody caught in spreading hate speeches in the country as a terrorist. Acting President Professor Yemi Osinbajo handed down the threat at the opening of the National Economic Council retreat on national security held in Abuja. Osinbajo said government is tired of series of hate speeches going on around the country and is ready to make its promoters face the law. The acting president and chairman of the National Economic Council, Yemi Osinbajo, called for an effective solution by matching the changing security challenges with evolving technological innovation available. He also wants the police to be active through its community policing committee.
The intimidation of a population by words, by speech, is an act of terrorism.
Osinbajo also drew a line on hate speech as he said government will henceforth view hate speeches as an act of terrorism as enshrined in the Terrorism Act 2012. And on Friday, the Nigerian government gave a clean bill of health to 106 released Chibok schoolgirls. Addressing journalists on Friday at a press briefing in Abuja, Nigeria's Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Senator Aisha Al-Hassan, said all the 106 girls have been getting the best of medical and psychological attention since regaining their freedom.
And now we bring you stories from our international scene. Do stay with us.